It started with the tomatoes. 3 bruised ones in a biodegradable produce bag, gripped tightly in the hand of a woman with a $2,000 handbag and zero patience. West Grove Market was packed. Saturday afternoon. Everyone rushing. Kids whining. Coupons flying. And in lane 4 stood Eli, 17, first job, new apron still too stiff, trying his best not to sweat through it. The scanner beeped inconsistently. The line stretched past the snack aisle. Then came her voice. Chirp. Flat. Expensive. These are bruised. Did you not check them? Eli blinked. I just scan. You just scan, she mimicked, rolling her eyes. Unbelievable. The line grew quiet. Behind her stood a father with a toddler. A man holding 6 packs of sparkling water. A retired woman clutching her purse. No one spoke. Eli's hands fumbled. Would you like me to get new ones? The woman scoffed. No. What I'd like is a cashier who understands basic customer service. Someone at the end of the line muttered, Come on, lady. She ignored it. This is what happens when you hire children. Eli looked like he might vanish into his apron. That's when a voice spoke. Even. Ma'am. Everyone turned. At the edge of the lane, in worn jeans and a red flannel shirt, stood a man holding a basket of soup cans and oranges. He looked ordinary. Until he stepped forward. And smiled gently. I think the tomatoes are fine, he said. But your tone is bruised beyond repair. The pause. Not because it was loud, but because it was true. The woman stared at him, stunned. Excuse me? You're excused, he replied. Then he turned to Eli. You're doing just fine. The cashier's eyes widened, because now he recognized the man. So did 3 people in line. Because underneath the flannel, the soft voice, and the kindness, was Keanu Reeves. The woman's face shifted instantly, from condescension to confusion, then to a barely contained PR smile. Oh, I didn't realize. Keanu raised one brow. That someone was listening? She blinked. He didn't scowl. Didn't flex celebrity. Just stood there, calm as a lake, holding soup cans and kindness like they weighed the same. I was just giving feedback, she said, voice thinner now. Feedback is what you give to help, he said. This was something else. A small ripple of agreement passed down the line. Quiet. Almost invisible. Eli stood frozen, scanning the tomatoes again, unsure whether to keep going or cry. Keanu turned slightly toward him. You've got this, man, he said gently. Just breathe. Eli nodded. Yeah. Thanks. The woman, now blushing, pressed her card to the reader and muttered, Whatever. As she stormed off with her bag clutched like it owed her an apology, the tension left with her. A few people chuckled quietly. The dad with the toddler gave Keanu a nod. Someone near the gum rack whispered, That was awesome. Keanu didn't acknowledge any of it. He stepped forward in line like nothing had happened, placing his basket on the belt. Eli scanned the soup cans more steadily now. Beep. Beep. Rhythm returned. You didn't have to do that, Eli said under his breath. Keanu shrugged. That's why it works. Eli tried to smile, but it came out wobbly. People like her come in all the time, he added. Most folks just pretend they don't hear. I don't pretend well, Keanu said, smiling. Eli laughed, finally. Clearly. Keanu paid in cash. Exact change. No fuss. He took his bag, nodded at Eli again. And just as he turned to leave, he paused. You'll remember this, he said. Eli blinked. Getting humiliated? No, Keanu replied. Getting noticed. Then he left. Not in slow motion. Not with fanfare. Just like a regular guy in flannel, who reminded an entire store that kindness is more than silence. The shift ended 2 hours later. Eli changed out of his apron in the cramped stockroom, still hearing echoes of the woman's voice in his head. But louder than that was the sound of someone standing up for him. He pulled out his phone and typed Keanu Reeves grocery store, just to be sure he hadn't imagined it. The headlines hadn't hit yet. No blurry TikToks. No hashtags. It had felt like a dream. But the receipt in his pocket said otherwise. He walked home under the buzz of streetlights, plastic earbuds in but no music playing. Just breathing. Just remembering. When he got home, his mom was half asleep on the couch, TV murmuring in the background. He dropped his keys, made a sandwich, and finally let the day settle in his chest like a stone that didn't hurt, but anchored. The next day, he returned to West Grove Market for another shift. And things were different. The manager, Deb, handed him a clipboard with a faint smile. "You're on Register 3 today. More visibility." Eli nodded, unsure if that was a promotion or a test. Halfway through his shift, an older man with thick glasses stopped in his lane. "You the kid from yesterday?" Eli hesitated. "I guess." The man chuckled. "That actor, what's his name? Said you handled yourself well." "I was just there." "Well," the man said, pointing to the receipt printer, "you've got presence now. Own it." Eli didn't respond. But he felt it too. A shift. Not big. Not blazing. Just steady. By late afternoon, a customer came through with 3 cans of soup and a bar of dark chocolate. She looked young. College maybe. Hoodie. Nervous smile. "You're Eli, right?" He blinked. "Yeah." She handed him a sticky note folded in half. Inside was a scribbled message. "Sometimes you're not invisible. You're just waiting for someone to look up." He looked up. She was already walking away. Eli placed the note under the register mat. Didn't tell anyone. But when Deb passed by later and said, "Nice flow today, kid," he didn't shrink. He smiled. Tuesday afternoon came with low gray skies and a steady drizzle, the kind of weather that made people grumpier, slower, and slightly more entitled. West Grove Market felt heavier than usual. Lines moved slower. One register jammed. A kid dropped a carton of eggs by the dairy section and cried like he'd shattered the moon. And yet, Eli held steady. He was on Register 3 again. Not the back register. Not the forgotten express lane. Center lane. Eye level with everyone. An older woman struggled with her coupons. Eli didn't sigh. He waited. Helped her match codes to brands. She left smiling. 2 teenagers bickered over who was paying. Eli cracked a joke about dueling debit cards. They both laughed, then tapped their phones on the reader at the same time. People noticed. Not because he was loud, but because he wasn't shrinking anymore. Around 3:15, the assistant manager, Devin, approached him. "Yo, we got a kid training on register. Mind if he shadows you?" Eli hesitated. "Me?" Devin smirked. "Yeah. You handled that lady on Saturday better than half the adults here. Figure it's your turn to pass it on." So that's how Noah, 15, braces and nerves, ended up standing next to Eli holding a training sheet. Eli glanced over. "First job?" Noah nodded. "First anything?" Eli smiled. "All right, let's make it easier." He walked him through every step, scanning, greeting when to double bag, when not to. And between customers, he told him the thing no one told him. You don't have to be perfect. Just don't disappear. Noah nodded like it meant more than he could explain. Eli got it. Because someone had said something like that to him, too. And it changed everything. Near closing, while Eli was wiping down his lane, a customer returned. Middle-aged man. Business casual. Looked tired but polite. He stepped up, held out a small envelope. "For you," he said. "From someone who remembered." Eli opened it slowly. Inside, a short handwritten note. "I was 2 people behind the woman with the tomatoes. I didn't speak. I wish I had. But what he said, and what you did by standing there without flinching, it stayed with me. Thank you. No name. No social handle. Just thank you." Eli folded the note carefully and placed it in the same drawer where he'd hidden the sticky note. The one that said, "You're not invisible." By the end of the week, Eli's drawer had 3 notes in it. Each one handwritten. Each one unsigned. Each one proof that what had started as a moment, a flash of kindness from a man in flannel, was now echoing through the aisles of West Grove Market. One note read, "My daughter works here too. She said you helped her not quit after her first panic attack. Just thought you should know." Another, "I used to bag groceries here in '96. You're the kind of guy I wish had been around then." And the third? Folded napkin. Messy handwriting. You made me feel safe checking out. That hasn't happened in a while. Eli didn't brag. Didn't frame them on the wall. He kept them where no one would see, except him. On the days the line was too long, or the credit card reader froze, or someone sneered about these useless kids, he'd touch the drawer briefly and breathe. He didn't need to raise his voice. He'd already raised the standard. On Saturday, a woman named Marcia was hired as the new front-end supervisor. First day, clipboard in hand, she scanned the lanes with laser precision. She didn't miss much. Especially not the quiet kid on register 3. She watched him for 10 minutes. No rush. No interruption. Then called him over during his break. "You're Eli?" "Yeah. I heard you had a moment with a customer." Eli tensed. "Yeah." She was difficult. Marcia raised an eyebrow. "And someone stepped in?" "Yeah." She leaned forward slightly. "Someone famous, apparently." Eli nodded once. "Keanu Reeves." Marcia smirked. "Hell of a cosigner." He didn't reply. She flipped a page on her clipboard. "3 customers mentioned your name in satisfaction surveys this week. That doesn't happen. Ever." Eli blinked. "I didn't know that was even a thing." "It is now." She paused. "You ever think about doing more than just scanning?" Eli hesitated. "Like what?" "Team lead. Training. Store culture." He looked down. "I'm 17. She shrugged. "And steady. That's rarer than age." That night, Eli walked home the long way. Through the side streets. Past the coffee shop with the cracked window. Past the bench where he used to sit after shifts and ask himself if it was worth showing up again the next day. Now he knew the answer. And it wasn't loud. It was written in small, anonymous notes. In nervous kids who stopped fidgeting when he stood beside them. In the fact that every register in the store now had a folded sticky note tucked somewhere beneath the drawer. Each one with the same message. "You're not invisible." The following Monday, the store wasn't just busy, it was buzzing. New sale flyers. Vendor audits. Surprise inspection from corporate. Everyone was on edge. Marcia walked the floor with sharp eyes and a red pen. Devin dropped a box of receipt tape and swore under his breath. Eli felt the tension the moment he walked in. "You're on lane 1 today," Marcia said. "Front and center. That okay?" He nodded. "I'm good." But inside he wasn't sure. Lane 1 was the showcase lane. Right by the entry. Fastest line. Easiest to watch. Easiest to judge. He adjusted his apron, exhaled, and clocked in. By noon, he was in a rhythm. Fin. Smile. Babe. Repeat. Then she walked in. Not her, but someone close. Business dress. Gold bracelet. Voice already impatient before she reached the counter. "These were in the front display. Why don't they have sale tags?" Eli checked the item on screen. "That promotion starts tomorrow, but I can override it for you if..." "You think I care about your override?" The tone cut like glass. Behind her, the line froze. A child in a cart stopped whining. A man holding a rotisserie chicken looked down at the floor. Eli blinked. "I'm just trying to help." "You people always try. But no one ever gets it right." For a moment, it was Saturday again. The tomatoes. The sting. The spotlight. But this time, something changed. Eli didn't stammer. He didn't shrink. He straightened. And with calm that didn't beg, he said, "Ma'am, I'm going to finish ringing you up. You're welcome to continue the purchase. But I'm not going to let you speak to me that way." She stared at him, stunned. Like no one had ever set a boundary in a place with plastic bags and coupons. From lane 4, Marcia looked up. From produce, Devin froze mid-restock. Eli's fingers didn't tremble. He scanned the last item. Total appeared. He said nothing. The woman slowly tapped her card, grabbed her bag, and walked away in silence. Afterward, Marcia approached. "That was not easy." Eli nodded. "No. But it was right." She smiled. "You just taught every cashier in here how to handle a storm." And Eli? He didn't feel shaken. He felt ready. Because this time, there was no flannel. No famous face. Just him. And that was enough. After that day, something shifted, again. Not in Eli. In the store. The younger cashiers began glancing toward him when things got tense. Baggers moved a little faster when he was at the register. Even the break room got quieter when he walked in, not out of fear, but focus. It wasn't authority. It was gravity. And gravity doesn't need to announce itself. One afternoon, Marcia asked him to train 2 new hires. A girl named Ari with blue nails and anxiety, and a kid named Luis who kept apologizing for everything, even things he hadn't done. Eli didn't give them a speech. He gave them space. When Ari fumbled with a price check and looked ready to quit, he whispered, "You're learning. That's the job." When Luis dropped an entire stack of receipt paper, Eli knelt and helped him pick it up, quietly without a sigh. At the end of the shift, Ari gave him a sticky note with a simple drawing, a tomato with a crown. Under it, in shaky handwriting, "For the quiet king of checkout." He smiled and stuck it under his drawer, right next to the first note he ever received. That Saturday, the store held a staff meeting. Fluorescent lights, cheap coffee, folded chairs. Marcia cleared her throat at the front. "Before we get to schedules, there's someone I want to recognize." Eli froze. This person has stepped up. Not with volume, but with consistency. With calm. And with something the store has been short on lately, respect. People glanced at Eli. He sank slightly in his seat. But Marcia smiled. Eli's being promoted to lead cashier. Effective next week. Applause. Not wild, but warm. From coworkers. From peers. From people who'd watched him grow without ever seeing him try to stand out. Afterward, in the break room, Devin slapped his shoulder. "Dude, you earned that." Eli smiled. "I just kept showing up." Devin grinned. "Exactly." Before the end of the day, Marcia handed him a new name tag. Eli, lead cashier. It felt heavier than it looked. Not because of the metal, but because of what it meant. He'd made it. Not by pushing. Not by pleasing. By enduring, with grace. It was the last shift of the month. The store was packed again, weekend rush, post-payday chaos. Every lane open. Every aisle clogged. And Eli? Right in the middle. Register 1. New tag. Steady rhythm. Then she walked in. Not the woman with the tomatoes. But close. Same cadence. Same entitled stride. Same scent of perfume that announced itself before she spoke. Eli didn't flinch. She placed her items down one at a time, slowly. Deliberately. Like testing him. He scanned them with care. "Your total is $34.78. She tilted her head. "You're new." "No, ma'am." Strange. I don't remember faces. But I'd remember that tone. He paused. "Is there a problem?" She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "Only if you make one." It wasn't loud. It was quieter than venom. But Eli didn't lean back. Didn't apologize. He simply waited. And behind her, the line kept moving. A young father rocked a baby carrier. A woman checked a list twice. No one spoke, but they were watching. Then someone stepped out of the snack aisle. A man in a gray beanie. Soft flannel shirt. Same jeans. Eli saw him before anyone else. Keanu. He didn't say anything. Not at first. Just stood there. Like punctuation. The woman noticed. Her eyes flicked toward him, then back to Eli. Recognition. Hesitation. She reached into her bag, pulled out a sleek card, and tapped the reader. No receipt. Then she was gone. Keanu approached the lane slowly. No basket. No items. Just presence. Eli blinked. "You remember this place?" Keanu smiled. "Hard to forget." They stood there, in a crowded store where a moment once made the world smaller. Now it made it bigger. "You handled that well," Keanu said. Eli shrugged. "I had a good teacher." "No," Keanu replied. "You had one moment. The rest? That was all you." He paused. "Still folding tomatoes with dignity?" Eli grinned. "Every day." Keanu reached into his pocket and slid a small card across the scanner belt. One sentence, handwritten. "Leadership isn't who shouts. It's who holds the line when others won't." Eli nodded. No tears. No applause. Just the quiet understanding that came from surviving the lesson and becoming the teacher. The next day, the store felt different. Not in any visible way. No balloons. No signs. No announcements. But energy has texture. And this one carried something softer. Clear. Like people were standing straighter, because they'd seen someone else do it first. Eli arrived 10 minutes early, as always. Clipboard in hand now. New badge clipped to his apron. Lead cashier. Luis and Ari were already on lane 3. They waved. Noah, the newest trainee, was bagging groceries like he'd done it forever. Eli walked the lanes, greeting each person. Grounded. Then he stopped by his drawer. And saw it. A folded napkin. No name. One sentence. I stayed in line because I saw how you stood your ground. Eli didn't smile. He closed his eyes for a moment. Then opened the drawer and slid it beside the rest. Later, during his break, Marcia found him sitting outside near the loading dock, sipping lukewarm coffee. She handed him a folder. What's this? Your application. Assistant floor supervisor. I already pre-filled most of it. Eli blinked. I didn't apply. No, she said, but people don't need you at just one register anymore. He opened the folder. Inside were comments from staff, quotes from customers, and a chart showing his shift hours compared to customer satisfaction spikes. You built a culture, she said, quietly, while everyone else just tried to survive their shift. He didn't know what to say. So she stood. You don't have to say yes. But you should know, it's yours when you're ready. She walked off. Eli stayed still. Not because he was overwhelmed, but because he could feel it now. The line between what he'd endured and what he'd become. That night, while closing his drawer, he found a new note tucked under the keypad. It was from Luis. There was a lady today. She started yelling. I remembered what you said. I didn't shrink. She backed off. Eli grinned and added one more note to his own journal that he kept now, inside his apron. Things worth holding the line for. Someone watching. The next new kid. A stranger's silence. And finally, the version of yourself who didn't think he'd make it. By the next weekend, Eli's lane was no longer just a register. It was a refuge. People lingered there even when shorter lines were open. Co-workers shifted toward his presence without realizing it. There was something about how he moved, how he stood, how he listened. And how he didn't flinch. Not when customers got sharp. Not when the systems glitched. Not when the world leaned a little too hard. He had become a still point. And people noticed. Around 2 p.m. on a Sunday, a woman in her 60s approached his lane. Slow steps. Purse clutched tight. Quiet eyes. She didn't say much. Just handed him a bag of groceries and a note. You helped my grandson last month. He has anxiety. Said you didn't rush him. I don't know your name. But I'm not leaving without saying thank you. Eli scanned each item carefully, then returned the note like it was breakable glass. My name's Eli, he said. She smiled. It is now. Later, Ari pulled him aside in the break room. You ever get tired of being everyone's calm? Eli considered that. Sometimes. But then I remember someone did that for me once. She looked at him. You mean Keanu? Eli laughed. Yeah. But also, the version of me that didn't quit that day. Ari handed him a sticky note. Purple this time. You're not invisible. You're inevitable. He added it to the growing wall inside his locker. Every note. Every anonymous thank you. Every scribble and tomato drawing. He didn't keep them as trophies. He kept them as reminders. That dignity is contagious. That evening, Marcia called a quick meeting before close. No big announcement. Just a gesture. Starting next month, she said, we're piloting a mentorship program. Peer-led. Cashiers training cashiers. And Eli. He looked up. You're heading it. Luis clapped. Noah grinned. Ari smirked proudly. Eli didn't speak. He just nodded once. Because some things don't need to be celebrated. They just need to be continued. It happened on a Thursday. The store was calm, soft music playing, the air unusually light. Eli was showing Noah how to handle a refund when the automatic doors opened with that familiar hiss. He didn't see him at first. Not until the soft voice spoke. "Any chance you still carry canned lentil soup?" Eli looked up. There he was. Same flannel. Same quiet eyes. Keanu Reeves. No cameras. No entourage. Just him, holding a small reusable bag, like any other customer. Noah's jaw nearly hit the floor. Eli didn't blink. He stepped around the register. Aisle 4, bottom shelf. "Still your style?" Keanu grinned. "It's comforting." Eli walked with him. They passed the fruit section. The dairy cooler. The display where a new cashier was nervously straightening paper towels. Keanu nodded toward the aisle. "Things feel different in here." Eli shrugged. "They are." "You." Eli paused. Still quiet. Just harder to ignore now. Keanu smiled at that. They reached the soup shelf. Keanu picked up a can. Then another. Held one out to Eli. "Think I owe you this," he said. "For closing the loop." Eli took it but shook his head. "No. You opened it." Keanu placed a second can in his bag. "You still collecting words?" Eli nodded. "Still sharing them?" Eli pulled a note from his apron and handed it over. A spare one. He always kept extras now. Be someone's reason to stay in line. Keanu read it once. Then again. He slid it into his back pocket. "I will." Before leaving, Keanu stopped by the register. Noah was still stunned. Keanu gave him a slight nod. "You're lucky. He's one of the good ones." Noah whispered, "I know." Then Keanu turned to Eli one last time. "I just reminded you that you were seen," he said. "You reminded them they always were." And with that he left. No spotlight. No music swell. Just 2 cans of soup and a legacy handed off like change. That night, after close, Eli stayed behind. The lights were dim. The aisles were quiet. The hum of the cooler units was the only sound in the world. He stood at register 1. Ran his hand across the counter. And remembered. The tomatoes. The way his voice shook. The way her words stung. And the way a man in flannel had stepped forward and quietly, without force, changed everything. Not with a speech. But with permission. To be seen. To stay standing. To hold the line. He walked to the back, unlocked his locker, and looked at the collection. Sticky notes. Napkins. Folded corners of old receipts. Each one a sentence someone had written because of something he had done. He didn't save them for pride. He saved them to remember that even in a place filled with noise, scanners, and small talk, dignity could still echo. He opened his notebook, the same one he'd started weeks ago. Final page. At the top he wrote, "Not all heroes wear capes." Then he crossed it out. And underneath he wrote, "Some wear aprons. And keep showing up when it's hardest." That's enough. He closed the notebook and placed it gently on the shelf. Then, just before he left, he took a single sticky note and placed it under register 1. No signature. Just 5 words. "Someone saw you. Keep going." Outside, the night was cold. But Eli didn't zip his jacket. He didn't need to. He walked into the dark like someone who'd been carrying light the whole time. He just didn't know everyone else had been watching. And now? Now they were following. Sometimes the loudest moments are quiet. No applause. No spotlight. Just one person standing still, while the rest of the world leans the wrong way. Eli didn't become a star. He became something far more powerful. A reminder that the line between being seen and being forgotten isn't fame. It's dignity. Speech balloon comment below. Who was your Keanu? Loudspeaker share this video with someone who holds others up, quietly. Movie camera subscribe to remind the world. Showing up still matters.